An engineer is an incredibly important part of the artistic process because you have a really bad engineer and your stuff sounds like shit, and you have a really good engineer and your stuff sounds like better than you could ever imagine. You're like, wow, I sound incredible right now. This right here is Mincieli. She is my right hand. She is the woman who's been with me on my musical journey the longest.
It was in 1998, and I remember meeting Alicia in the elevator, and I just had a bunch of tapes. Like, we used tape back in the day. And she was like, what do you do? Really? You're an assistant engineer? And I was like standoffish, and I was like, oh my God, like, who is this person? I'm just trying to get to my session, and she's asking me a million questions. And I'm like, stop bugging me, God.
I don't remember that at all. A really great engineer is the person that helps to make sure that the music that's being created is in the highest quality. When we're miking this piano, there's multiple mics on here because the dimension that it has to cover from the bottom to the top of the piano has to be beautiful from each place. Now you put a mic too close to the string, it's gonna create a reverberation for it that's gonna be dull or too close or distorted or whatever. And so there's an art that comes with capturing sound in the most beautiful way.
As time went on, I realized that the type of producer in artistry work, it was the type of engineer I wanted to be. You know, I wanted to define sound and create and collaborate. I didn't really believe in the role of you just had to be an engineer or you had to be a producer. It's like we can all collaborate. So I realized engineering started way earlier than actually sitting in a control room. It was like, what is the vision of the record? Diary, there was a vision.
I feel like that Diary album was when we really figured out how to really create a sonic world and how to create the space that was needed to envelope us to make that. So that was powerful.
We started the foundation on Diary, but As I Am was like, let's break every rule. Let's
bong, bong, bong.
Yeah, let's do things that they said could never be done before. Like, let's make a guitar sound out of our whirly or our Moog by putting it through a guitar pedal, by putting it through a distortion pedal and an amplifier. We just tried to really paint the sonic picture.
For me, I do more tend to like to use what I'm used to because I feel comfortable and then I feel like I can just flow in it and I don't have to like worry about the newness. But you push me to start to like learn new patterns.
Right. I think what's important too is we carve out time to bring in a Dave Smith in between albums to learn. And I always bring one or two pieces of gear in at a time or a plug-in at a time. We've been learning virtual since 2006. Before anyone else really knew what they were. We built our own piano plugin together. Yes. We're one of the only artists that actually have their own plugins. And I feel like this is a playground that we have 24/7. I feel like I always compare you to Prince because he was never working on an album and not working on an album. You're working on 3 albums at once right now.
Well, I'll take that comparison any day. Most of the time I'll sit at the piano and I'll play kind of what I feel like, and maybe that'll lead to a melody, maybe that'll lead to a phrase, a word. There's like a feeling, or I went through whatever I went through and I feel what I feel, and I have this emotion that I know it wants to express itself, whatever it is. Somewhere between the emotion, the idea, the feeling, the conversation, and the end product, I have no idea what happens. Sometimes it happens like this. Sometimes it happens in one sitting and I'm leaving here in 15 minutes. Sometimes it takes 6 months. Sometimes I love you. Sometimes you make me blue.
In terms of what the process is for Alicia, there's no rules at the end of the day. She records vocals in many different scenarios. Sometimes she's sitting behind her piano and playing and singing at the same time, and I have to make sure I capture both cleanly. And a lot of times there's an emotion and a tone when you mold the two together that you don't get when you sing separately, where she has a way of being able to articulate emotionally as she's playing. So it's very important sometimes for her to be able to sing and play at the same time. And then we have songs that we chop up and we record, over 2 or 3 years. We're changing vocals and evolving them. So, we record our verses and our hooks and our B sections and our bridges, and we comp. If she's working on the song the first day, a lot of the time, those vocals are never used, even if she does 10 or 15 takes, because she's still learning the song. And as you live with it, the song evolves and the emotion evolves and the vocal performance evolves, because you can feel like you can do a better take because you learned it better. And then there's other songs where it's just one take and that's it, because that's the magic that she's captured in that one take that she feels can never be outdone.
With myself and Ann, when we're recording vocals, she might say, hold on, I think that there's another compressor that's gonna make this feel right. And I'm like, okay. And then she puts it on and maybe it's more transparent, or maybe it's more dull and dark, whatever the case is. And I'm like, ooh, this does add another element that I would have never thought of. So I think there's something about the collaborative process that's so cool, because each person is just completely their own species, and everyone has their own thing, and it just cannot be duplicated. So I love what happens when those things collide. You and I are the first one at the studio.
Yep.
And then we're the last
ones to leave.
Especially when it's album closing time. Me and you are on the couch sleep, taking a nap at the desk. Wait a minute, let me check that mix. Because it's actually pretty hard to complete a project. I think the easy part is write a bunch of songs,
right.
Fix it up, vibe it out. That's the easy, fun part. But the hard part is making it all belong together. And
right.
The only person I actually do that with is you.
It's all about capturing the magic.
Capturing the magic.
Yeah.
Good Job has always been really special. We actually wrote that song while we were in Egypt. And so we're looking at all the people in the street and we're walking through the space, and I'm like, you know what? I hear something. And so we're literally crafting this song. Pieces of it is coming from just us walking around. We kind of tried this melody, we tried this little thing on it, and it felt really good, and we're like, ooh, something's here. So fast forward, we end up writing this song, Good Job, and a couple of different versions. It was kind of a more produced idea. And I ended up doing some writing with The Dream. The Dream also wrote on Good Job. And I kind of played him that vibe, and I was like, man, and I sang him the chorus, and he was like, whoa. And we started writing and crafting it. So a song takes all these incarnations, but we were writing it to that original music. And it felt awesome. It felt so good.
So basically, at the beginning and the end, there's an emotion that builds, and it's a little somber and sad. So I have a bunch of effects on the piano. I duplicated it. I took another take of the intro, and it sounds like this. That's clean. And if I put it on, it sounds like this.
And it took the rhythm and played with it too.
Now fluff comes in, the drums come in, and as you can see, we're building the song throughout. It has brushes and toms and really kind of a live element.
And it's subtle, I like that. I haven't heard this version in a minute. As time passed, I noticed that when I listened to it with that production around it, I couldn't hear the words. And the words were so beautiful. You're the engine that makes all things go, and you're always in disguise, my hero. I see your light in the dark, smile in my face when we all know it's hard. And so Ann was like, maybe you should just do a version where it's just stripped back piano. I was like, but I love this version. This is like it. This is it. She's like, I don't know, I don't know, try it. And I actually came in this room and, you know, probably did, I don't know, 8 or 9 takes of just that song right here on this piano right here. You're the engine that makes all things go, and you're always in disguise, my hero. I see your light in the dark, smile in my face when we all know it's hard. And the more that I sang it, the more it just started feeling like, it just felt so genuine and exactly what we wanted to feel. And it just took something that was already a great idea and it just made it like so tangible. And you know, we know my thing is the piano, so when I break it down, it just works. So sometimes you just gotta do it. So that was really cool. And again, you see how all the parts and all these pieces, and they kind of just, again, when I said between the first idea and when it actually became what you hear right now, I don't know how it actually gets there, but all these ways together, it just arrives.
Don't get too down, the world needs you now. Know that you matter.
The Alicia record was pretty exciting because we worked really hard through this pandemic and COVID, and we found out a really cool spot to finish the record, which was Joshua Tree. And it led to a lot of inspiration. So it felt rewarding to, you know, be inspired to finish it. And we finished it in a place where you wouldn't ordinarily finish a record, but we made it work. And that's the beauty of it. You know, yeah, we were in a bedroom like everyone else, working at home, making beats. And that's the connection that I always want people to realize is we're using the same tools. We're in the same bedroom as you are, finishing your record. So it kind of felt like it was a beginning in a way, so.
Seriously.
Yeah.
First of all, this is a very important moment in time to capture.
No.
Don't be shy. Y'all know I've been with Ann, me and Ann are damn near sisters. We've been partners so long. And this is the first time that she's playing bass on my record.
No, the first time she caught me playing bass on
I
her
thought the time was guitar. She sneaks on my records and she plays instruments without me knowing. I've always wanted to define and create my sound. I always wanted it to be genuine to me. I always wanted to be able to reach as many people as I could possibly reach from all styles and all places and all walks of life, but on my terms, because it meant something to me, because it represented actually who I am and what I think and what I feel and, you know, what makes me tick. And it forced me to have confidence in my writing. It forced me to have confidence in my production. I know what it needs to sound like, and I know how to get it there, and I know how to create an emotional arc that's gonna take you somewhere. That's why you do music, so people will love it and sing it and feel the same way you feel. That's the dream. And at the same time, though, holding on to your perspective, your spirit, your truth is the hardest thing of all.